It's been a minute. And by a minute, I mean it's been maybe like 2 weeks. I don't know, I haven't checked. But I'm back now. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but up until very recently, I haven't been legally in the clear to do so. I think now I am. I'm like 99% sure I am. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about my most recent near-death experience. But before we get into that, today's sponsor, no, I'm just kidding. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of this story, let me just give you a little prologue, okay? So you know how we got to where we went, okay? Hold my hand, because we're going to move a little fast. So at the beginning of this year, I was in a super deep depression, right? It was not good. I was unhappy, I was broke, I was like, wah, I have no money, and I never leave the house, and da-da-da-da. So, my solution to that was to get a job. I hustled hard to find a job, okay, baby? When I tell you I was applying everywhere, sending emails, calling folks, not getting a call back. Yeah, super discouraging until one day, I got a call back from this animal shelter that I had applied to. The shelter had just opened, new construction had been recently built. That was very redundant. The job, it had good pay, decent benefits, and they were the only place to ever get back to me. So with all of that in mind, I went ahead with the process of applying and, doing an interview and da-da-da-da. To make a long story short, they were super understaffed, so I pretty much got the job on the spot, which should have been a red flag. And I'm gonna get to why in a minute. So I get the job, and for about a month or two-ish, things are going great. I'm happy with the pay. It's the most I've ever made at a job, considering the fact that, one, I'm 19, and two, before this, I've only ever had part-time jobs. So yeah, first full-time job, I'm enjoying the pay, I'm enjoying the benefits, and the job itself is not very difficult. All I have to do at this job is go into the kennels, take the dogs out, clean the kennels, put the dogs back in. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? 2-ish months into the job, I'm starting to feel very, very burnt out. Yeah, I'm burning out. I picked up a very bad habit of smoking to cope with the stress, a little 420, little ganja. Another way that I coped with the stress was by posting pictures of the dogs at the shelter. I posted them on Instagram, I posted them on TikTok, and that is an important detail for later. Well, semi-important, but we'll get to it. I posted this slideshow on TikTok, and it was like dogs that I have beef with at the animal shelter that I work at. And I literally thought nothing of it. I posted it, said it, and forget it. Literally the day after that TikTok went up and started doing numbers, I got attacked by a dog at my job. So yeah, that's kind of like the foreground out of the way. Okay, you got the background, you know how we got here. This is how it happened. Before I say anything, okay, before I get into this again, let me just say that I don't feel like this job adequately prepared me for what to do in the event that a dog attacks you. I don't know why I said I feel, because bitch, they straight up just didn't prepare me. Nobody told me what to do in the event that a dog attacks you. Nobody told me what to do when a dog bites you. None of that. Not only that, I had nothing to defend myself. I had no type of spray, no panic button. I had nothing. So keep that info in mind while I'm telling the story. The day that I got attacked, I go into work, like nothing happened, okay? Normal run-of-the-mill day. I see my TikTok is doing numbers. I'm running around showing it to all my coworkers like, hey, look at me, I'm going viral. I'm finna pack up. I'm finna quit this job and move out to LA and follow my dreams, hey. And they were like, girl, shut up. And I was like, okay. In the morning, you don't know, but in the morning we had mandatory meetings where we would all just kind of meet up and go through what was going on that day, and then we would be sent back to our section. So after this meeting, I go to my section and I start working. I start pulling the dogs out, moving them to where they need to be moved, cleaning their kennels, and putting them back. And everything is going a-okay until I get to the last dog in the room. Sherlock. Oh, I'm curious, yeah. 사진 쏘니까. You just got jonged. I get to Sherlock. And let me tell you something about Sherlock, right? let me tell you something about Sherlock. He knows me, okay? And I know him. I've fed him before. I've handled him before. So I know that this attack was not like a stranger danger type thing, right? I go to take him out of his kennel, and immediately, like, I put the leash around him, take him out, and he's trying to play. He's trying to jump up and down and do all this little whoop-de-whoop. I'm not, boy, sit down. So I redirect him, and redirection is basically just like very quickly trying to get a dog's attention off of whatever else they're paying attention to and back onto what needs to be done. Like, he knows the routine, right? I'm not here to play with you. I'm here to take you outside so I can clean your kennel. This sassy ass dog did not want to take my redirection. In fact, the second I try to redirect him, he jumps up again, gets a mouthful of my hair. Now, I've never been in this situation before. It doesn't even register to me that he's trying to attack me. My dumb ass is sitting here like, oh, is he playing? He must be playing. Boy, get down. Until he jumps up again and snaps right down on my armpit. And when I tell you, I felt that man crunch through my skin, crunch through my muscle. Well, once that happened, I knew he wasn't playing. Fight or flight kicks in, and one thing about me is I'm going to fly every time. I'm not sticking behind to fight this crazy ass dog. He has nothing to lose. He's homeless. You know, when I think about it, I can't be too mad at him, because if I was homeless, I would be biting people too. But any woozies, fight or flight kicks in, I start running because, like I said earlier, I was not given like instruction, protocol, anything to defend myself. All I have is my 2 feet. I run. I'm running. He's chasing. And I'm about to make it out of the kennel room that we're in, right? So like the way that the room was arranged, it's like a room. It's like a room. And then like the kennels are in the middle of the room. So you can walk around and you can like make a loop. And then on the end of the loop, there are doors that let humans in and out. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not good at explaining stuff. All you need to know is that there was a door that I was this close to shutting in that dog's face. I was this close to freedom. And you want to know what happened? You want to know what happened? You really want to know? I don't think you want to know for real. I don't think you want to know for real. Oh my God. I was so mad at myself when this shit happened. I slipped. I slipped. There was a conveniently placed puddle of water on the floor from cleaning, because you know, you got to use water to clean. I slip in the water and I fall. I very much felt like one of those dumbass people in a horror movie where like they're just so close and then they fucking trip over nothing. Except I didn't trip over nothing. I slipped in water. That technically was not my fault. Any woozies, I slip, I fall, and I'm like, damn, it's really curtains for me. Riddle me this. How do you fight a crazy ass dog while you're on the ground? You don't. You curl up in a ball and you pray. That's what you do. Once I hit the floor, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was thinking very fast. I felt like an anime character. You know how like when anime characters are in a fight and they're just like standing there thinking for like 2 minutes, just like in the middle of a fight, in the heat of battle? That's what I was doing. I'm I'm laying there on the floor with my arms above my head, trying to protect my face and just thinking like, how do I get out of this situation? I'm like, I can't stand up because the floor is still wet. I can't kick him because he's biting at my upper body. He's nowhere near my legs. I can't punch because he's biting my arms. What do I do? Eventually, I settled on screaming for help. It very much was my last resort because at this point, the building was open to customers. So screaming for help very much was a huge risk. Somebody who was not trained to deal with that situation could have found me and probably would have made everything 10 times worse. So yeah, screaming for help was definitely a risky move, but it was the only move that I could make at that point in time. Luckily, my coworker found me. Shout out to Ian. Thank you for saving my life, because that dog was turning me every which way but loose. Okay, Yeah, my coworker, she finds me, she gets me off the ground, she kicks the dog away from me, and she leads me outside. While she's leading me outside, the dog is following me too. Like, he's on me. Like, I'm trying to get away, and that dog is biting at my back. Like, I have scars on my back that most people don't get to see because of my clothes. But, like, yeah, he was biting at my back. It was cray-cray. So while we're outside, there's, like, a gate out there, and my coworker closes the gate and separates me fully from the dog. So now there's no way that he can get to me. Once we're separated, all of the adrenaline decides to leave my body. I walked up to a wall and just like slid down it and just like stared at the sky. I was like, while I'm like laying back, like dazed, you know, like this, Sherlock is still locked in on me. Like, I look over through this gate and this dog is staring hard as hell, just pacing back and forth. Baby, that dog wanted me gone. He wanted me gone. So, you know, my coworker who saved my life, she runs and she gets help, and when I tell you it took like half an hour for my manager to come and fucking get me, like, girl. So my manager and like a supervisor, they're like holding towels on my arms and shit, and they're bringing me water and da-da-da-da. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really like losing consciousness at this point. Yeah, everything's kind of a blur. It took a long time for the ambulance to come get me. But they got me, you know, it was fun. It's funny in hindsight, but it was not funny at the moment. When I got into the ambulance, right, I was trying to call my dad. Like, I'm literally like hand shaking, covered in blood, sweating, crying, not throwing up, but like, you get the idea. And while I'm trying to call my dad, a message comes in the work group chat. And my manager is like, meeting in the multi-purpose room now. And I was just like, oh hell, they talking about me. Very rude of them, by the way. Very, very rude. So nasty. So rude.
Ever bring anybody around me like that.
So nasty.
And that's what happened.
So rude.
Because how are you going to have a meeting about me and not invite me to the meeting? I know the meeting's about me. You know the meeting was about me. Everybody knows the meeting was about me, because why else would we be meeting in the multi-purpose room right after I just got loaded in the ambulance? Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right. Anyways, while I'm in the back of the ambulance, they are loading me up with drugs. And let me just tell you something. I see why people get addicted to that stuff, okay? Because when they gave me that morphine, ooh, I was feeling good. Oh, they also gave me oxygen. They're like, yeah, you have hypoxia. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because when I got my hospital bill, I saw they charged me for it. What is wrong with America? How dare you? How dare you charge me for oxygen? What? While I'm in the hospital, they take me in, they cleanse my wounds, they stitch me up, and then they wheel me out into the hallway with a bunch of crackheads. Listen. I was at Grady, okay? If you know, you know. If you don't, well, that's too damn bad, because I'm not explaining it. Anyways, while I was in the hospital, I was getting the inside scoop from one of my coworkers. Again, it's funny in hindsight. It was funny in hindsight, but it was not funny in the moment. Oh my gosh. My coworkers texted me and they like, yeah, everybody's talking shit about you. I was like, I nearly lost my life and these niggas are talking shit. I was mad. Like, tears streaming down my face, angry. Like, how dare you? I nearly died. Can you at least wait like a day or two? I was mad. I was crying. I was angry. My dad's in the hospital with me. I throw my phone down and I'm like, Dad, I'm not going back to work. I quit. And he was like, Kennedy, do what you want because you're an adult, but I didn't raise you to be a little bitch. Do with that what you will. He didn't say that exactly, but that's the energy that I was getting. Yeah, so, Sidebar, while I was in the hospital, I had to pee, and I also had to get changed, because I was in a gown. So they wheel me into the bathroom so I can pee and get changed. And you know, I pee, I do my business, and I flush, I wash my hands, and when I stand up and start, like, getting dressed, putting on my clothes, A man walks in on me while I am not fully dressed. Like, I have nothing going on top, right? When I tell you I was so high and so tired that I did not care, it did not register to me until the very next day that the first man to ever see my titties was a random crackhead at Grady. When I tell you that realization had me on the floor, like literally knocked the air out of my lungs. Oh, speaking of titties. Speaking of titties, that dog bit both of them. Yeah. One bite on each side. In addition to all of the bites on my arms and on my back. Yeah, like I said, turn me every which way but loose. He went for the goods. I was so mad. Not my goodies. Anyways, after I got dressed, they gave me discharge papers. They gave me a perk. And they sent me on my way. And that was the experience. I am the kind of person who has to look for a silver lining in every single situation. And the silver lining here is that dog chewing on me, trying to turn me into Purina, dog chow, it made me realize that no job was worth my physical or mental health. Now, I wish I could say that I had realized that before I went back, but I didn't. I went back for 1 month. I was like, you know what? Let me get my money right and let me see if there's just like any possibility that I can like get back to my job. No possibility. For 2 reasons. 1, the attack left me with a phobia of large dogs that I'm unfamiliar with. Like, if I know the dog and I know the owner, we're cool. But if I don't know either, we're not cool. And dogs can sense fear. Let me tell you something. You do not want those dogs to sense fear on you in a shelter. Because, again, they will turn you every which way but loose if they think that they can. Reason number 2 why I left the job, my manager was pissing me off. It's kind of confusing to tell you exactly how she pissed me off, but I'm gonna attempt to anyways because I got time. Basically, when I got back from work, I had a request for 2 weeks of light duty from my doctor, right? So, you know, I'm on light duty. I look at the schedule because they have the schedule like written out and they have like the names on people's sections and they have me assigned for light duty. I go to work for the first week back. I'm on light duty and I'm really not doing shit. Not gonna lie. Like I'm doing laundry. I'm doing meds. I'm washing dishes. Like it's nothing serious. But at the end of my first week, my supervisor texted me and she's like, "Hey, yo, you gotta go to the work doctor." And I'm like, who that? You gotta go to the doctor that like works for us, basically. And I'm like, okay. So they shoved me in the back of a lift and I'm on my way to that doctor. It took that doctor 3 hours. 3 hours to see me. And once he called me in, he gave me a 5-minute exam and cleared me for full duty without my knowledge. Mind you, I didn't know he was going to clear me for full duty. I thought that my doctor's note was going to override it. It didn't. I went back the next week, saw my name down for full duty, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. It's been less than a month since I got attacked by a dog, and you want me to go in for full duty? Mind you, at this point, my arm, where that dog had snapped down and crunched through my muscle, still wasn't fully healed. I still had open wounds. So I go to my manager, and I'm like, hey girl, what's this? And she's like, oh, our doctor cleared you for full duty. And I was like, okay, well, what about my doctor? My doctor said 2 weeks. She pulls out my doctor's note and she's like, yeah, your doctor said 2 weeks and that was effective last week because I messed up and I did not put a date at which my doctor's note would be effective. So basically what my manager was telling me was that my doctor's note was effective the day that my doctor wrote it, which was 1 week before I went back to work. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't make sense to me either. When I tell you I had to take such a deep breath and such a big step back, I left her office. I was like, okay. That was a moment where I made my mind up that I was going to quit. Yeah, so that was it. That was the job. That's how that ended. The aftermath. Remember how I mentioned TikTok earlier? Yeah, like, you know, I went viral. I was doing numbers or whatever. Yeah, I ended up having to take those videos down because, you know, those videos were about the dogs at my former place of employment. And I was in the process of suing them. So basically, here's what happened. A few weeks after the attack, I start realizing how messed up everything that happened to me at that job was. All things considered, I should not have been able to work there. They should have turned me away because I had no prior experience working in a shelter. And this shelter does not turn away any dog. Regardless of background, regardless of temperament, you're not turning away any dog. You need to hire people who are qualified to deal with dogs like that. But because they were understaffed, they went ahead and took me. And then they also went ahead and didn't properly prepare me for what to do in that situation. But the thing that pissed me off above all else is that they did not pay my medical bills. Just because I got mauled by one of y'all crazy ass dogs in America, now I gotta pay, what, like $1,600? No! I'm not paying nothing. So I go to legal. And I'm like, yo, I need to sue them. I should not have to be worried about my medical bills. They said they would take care of them. And that's another thing about my manager. I literally gave her my bills and she was like, oh yeah, I'll send this to somebody. They'll take care of it. And then a week after I quit, bills start coming in to me, addressed to me. They should be going to my job. I was very angry. I went to legal. I was like, yo, sue them for whatever they're worth, please. And they were like, yo, we can't do that, but we can help you get your medical bills paid. And I was like, that's enough. Say less. Because of that whole ordeal, I ended up having to take down the TikToks that I went viral for. Which, I mean, it is what it is, you know? Like, of course, I would go viral for a job that I only had for 3 months and that ended horribly. Yeah, that would be my luck. I'm good now, I think. It's been 6-ish months, six-ish months since I've been attacked. And other than trauma, other than tossing and turning and sleepless nights, reminiscing about the attack, I'm okay. Me and my homies are very much smoking that Sherlock pack because his ass did die. Like, I'm not finna sugarcoat nothing. When dogs do that, when dogs maul people, they do get decapitated and they do get their brains sent to science to study what the fuck happened and why they did that. Sherlock, wherever you might be, I just want to let you know that there's a reason why your ass didn't get adopted, okay? And the reason is because you look like a fucking human in a dog suit. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I love you. No, I don't. That was that was way too forward. But thanks. Thanks for sticking around. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.